Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the OK Grognard Show. It is Tuesday, June 9th, 2020, 9:30 a.m. Central in beautiful Lake Geneva, Wisconsin. Good morning. Red Barn Games is in the house. Red Barn Games, the winner of last week's giveaway prize, a 13th Warrior DVD, Antonio Banderas movie. Excellent D&D movie, in my opinion. Cartography and Worldbuilding on the docket today, and Dyson Logos just put out a new world map kind of thing. Not a whole world, but it's not a dungeon, it's not a tavern, it's not a tower, and it's not a town or a village. So let's have a look at it. So here it is, without anything except potential city locations. Looks a little fuzzy, but this is not at its top. There it is with just some legend information showing major settlements, minor settlements. 1 hex equals 1 hand wave. O is a humorous. Cartography by Dyson Logos. The Principalities of Black Sphinx Bay. This being, over here, Black Sphinx Bay, obviously, off of an ocean or a sea. Bays go off of oceans and seas, saltwater, right? So I guess no, they can go off freshwater too, or Green Bay wouldn't exist, right? Anyhow, let's have a look at the map with all the towns and locations popped in there. Well, not all of them. Some of them are not labeled. But he used this for his own purposes and labeled the things he felt needed labeling. These are not the town locations. These are regional location names. Because as you can see down toward the bottom here, Zerlug, Zokalustug, and Stelug, right along the inlet there. Each have a name, and then this big name obviously covers this area. Kazkul up in this area, Pantesh, this kind of mountainous region. Some nifty names. Now, notice the compass in the upper right. How do we like that? The outline, what does it say? Outlying, Ulfire. So the regions are, or the directions are based off something other than north, south, east, west. That's an interesting thing worth maybe considering when you're world building. Look down here in the lower middle left. Look at the little obelisk there. That seems important. This town that's just below it, a minor settlement, probably accessed via some sort of, I don't know, does this look deserty or does this look swampy or marshy? I don't know. I see mountains jutting out of it. This looks like a whole toppled over or several pyramid type things. So maybe this was an old ancient ruins of a former civilization. Pretty nice. Forests upper middle like that, and up there are In the lower left down here, these are obviously forest regions as well. So major forests are denoted. Upper middle, big swamp, marsh area. Not bad. A lot of rivers winding off of this bay, which is a good thing. There's a little inland sea. As looks disconnected, more swamp and marsh in the lower right. It's feeding what flows into the bay and into the sea over here in the middle right. Interesting. Interesting. So it is nice that he produces this map without the names. This is available on his website, DysonLogos.com. It's available also for commercial use. It's not bad. It could be used. We're a little fuzzy here, though. If you'll notice, this this completely no legend version is pretty bad. I don't know. That doesn't seem usable. I guess you could take this version, scrub the names off of it. You'd probably want to keep most of the rest of the legend up here, right? Maybe you'd want to keep the name. I think that would have to go, but you could graft some hexes from some of the open areas, right, into those spots to blot out that name. And you could do some work over here to adjust that. You could change the places where there are boundaries. I don't think it would take a whole lot to blot out all of the town and city locations. You could essentially change the scale. Now it says 1 hex hand wave, but how close are two locations? They're not a mile apart, right? These aren't quarter-mile hexes. These must be larger than that. These mountains would suggest they're at least 5-mile hexes, would you think? 10-mile hexes? Maybe 25-mile hexes? Ink Dweller's in the house. Say hello, buddy. I think actually you're already covered on the giveaway for next week, so no need. 26-mile hexes, you say? I've got to ask. Oh, Ink Dweller, we don't have you in for next week yet. For this week's. Should we? We probably should. You probably were here. But chime in on the chat if you get a chance. Let's make it official. 26 Red Barn games said for hex size. 26. Interesting. So I've often seen increments for hex maps in 5, 25, 125, right? In multiples of 5 going up. I've seen 636, 636. So multiplying by 6 each time you move up. 26, I'm not sure how you granulate that up or down without... 26 comes from the idea of a marathon, or what does 26 denote? What is the impetus for choosing the number 26 as a possible hex size? I'm missing something, obviously, right? Something obvious over here being missed. Arbitrary? Okay, all right. I wondered. Thought I must be missing something. Well, you know, it is the marathon, right? So, if you were doing a Greek city-states thing, you might want to say 26 is a number you use as a nod to tradition or something, right? I think there's a way to take this map. Let's see, how does this look compared to the one with the regional names on it? Okay, they're practically the same. So the only thing we really have bad here is the fuzziness of the completely unlabeled map. If we were to take this, clean it off, we could change it rather significantly. If we were to make them, if we were to consider these more hills or mountains as they have, say, in England, for instance, which, there are some high ones in England, but not a lot. And we could crop this map down to get rid of some of the features to the south and to the east, right? Clear out some of the marshland down there and clear out that deserty looking section down there. And, cut it down to I kind of like the northern one though, right? If we were to take this, do that, clean off that, rotate it, we could use this. Actually, it looks similar to a location in my own campaign, which would work pretty well. So, I don't know. Maybe there's a way for me to use something of it. Arbitrary. Typically, though, cities are roughly 2 to 3 days apart. Coastal marshes are great, though. Keep those. Lots of potential play opportunities. True, you can plunk down all sorts of things in marshes that you can say nobody's ever found, that have been there forever. So it's nice having marshes near civilization where young adventurers can go dip their toe in the swamp. For sure. The 2 to 3 days, yeah. For major cities too, you throw minor cities in between. Do you feel? Is that part of your? I tend to think of civilization as being where I could travel a day along the roads, not in the wilderness, but along roads in any direction, and there would be some sort of settlement or roadside inn, or even so a burgeoning village, if you will, a day's travel from any other thing. There's a place with a roof over your head. There somebody's taking advantage. Oh, you're traveling west of the main city. Once you get to roughly a day's walk to the west, there's an inn there because there's money to be made, right? You usually keep one major city to a region and then maybe a village or town carriage house within a day or so. Yep. Yeah, that's roughly what I'm saying here too, right? It's definitely a money maker, so there's going to be somebody that's going to take advantage of that opportunity. Some enterprising soul will see a chance to make a couple of bucks. Great minds think alike, no doubt. And what do we like about these? If we're looking at this as, all right, well, let's look at the map the way he's got it set up. We've got here. I'll bring on the regional names again because that helps us define these different locations a little more in keeping with what he's thinking. So if we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, roughly 20 different regions. I guess the suggestion being that This area is pretty fragmented for some reason, right? It's just not all necessarily one empire and a bunch of different little kingdoms or satrapies or whatever, you know, whatever cultural divisions you want to place on it. However, we've got places are often divided along geographical lines. Although there are some places, like on this place on the far right, the peninsula and Mexteg, these two just clipped off right in the middle, or not right in the middle, but clipped off around some open areas. These lines here divide places based on Mexteg has both sides of this river. Ul Elistag has a town down here, but mostly hugs the coast, right? Each of these has a major port. Major ports seem to be the idea behind most of the towns along the bay, and even the ones along the river are utilizing the waterways. Very few of these places are not along a major waterway. Down lower left, this minor settlement here, notably not along a waterway. That's one on the right. Pretty close, but not quite there. Inland, upper, middle here. Only a few that aren't along major waterways. Up in the mountains here, perhaps there's a mountain pass there, and this is a trade route. I'm not sure where they'd trade to. Why not just use the waterways, right? So, tough to say. Nevertheless, a lot of reasoning behind most of the settlements. So you've got to assume, you don't have to assume, I usually assume, that if that much thought went into the majority of the map, then there's some reasoning behind the exceptions, right? What do we like about this? Lower left, far lower left corner. Look at the mountain jutting up out of the forest down here. All on its kind of lonesome. Not a lonely mountain. It's not out on a plain. It's surrounded by thick forest. But I really like that. I really like the idea of it. I like that it's there. And that's a keeper. Any other features on here? There could be a little more difference between, I guess, all these little lines, right? All the little tree trunk lines. Kind of a dark continent, primordial forest, says Red Barn Games. Indeed. Agreed. These are forests over here too, in the kind of lower rightish in this little area. So that's good. Not going on there. Not going on there. So we've got a lot of different terrain types covered in this one map. If we were to look at this at 5 miles a hex, or 25, let's say, right? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Roughly 20 by 20, a little more. So That's just about 100 miles at 5 miles a hex, or at 25 miles a hex, you're looking at 5 times that, 500. Which gives you a pretty big region. I think, aren't there areas of England? Is England about 400 miles across at its narrow top end? No? Something like that? It's farther, isn't it? Halfton 7133. Thanks for popping in, buddy. Make sure you follow the channel now that you've chimed in, if you don't follow already, because if you're a follower and you chime in during a live stream, then you're automatically added into a free giveaway drawing that we do each week. I think this week I decided it was going to be a Hildebrandt College poster. I'm not sure which ones I have in store. College. Let's see. This is pretty neat. Here we go. Just gonna grab a website here. Collectors Weekly. There's a guy that shows off his quote-unquote dad's poster collection. This here is a set of posters done by the Hildebrandt brothers, commissioned in the late 70s by the Coca-Cola Company to mimic college life with a medieval fantasy perspective. Then you've got a blind date, chemistry 101, freshman counseling, cramming, home game. Clever little posters, pretty cool, right? And see if we can bigify this somewhat. There we go. I've got several of these lying around from when I completed my own collection, because I could get one of these in really good condition, but these two that were kind of crappy were with it, and then I could get one of these and one of these together, and they threw in one of these, but it was all torn up. So I had to get them from several different locations. And Article Justicar, welcome, buddy. Yeah, these are classics. They were actually giving them away to all attendees until they ran out at Gen Con at University of Parkside, I think in 79, maybe it was 80. They came out around that time, and they're given away at the door. And they had a ton of them. So Coca-Cola, wanted to pass them out at a location where people would appreciate them. And so they went to 77, it says here, Coca-Cola Company commissioned illustrators, brothers Greg and Tim. But now these weren't given away until posters were popular enough that McDonald's negotiated an exclusive distribution agreement until the program discontinued in 85. Well, see, now that's not true, because I got mine at Gen Con. So if that's true, it was negotiated later. Now, it may be that what happened was they were commissioned in 77. They were doing something with them. At some point, because I got mine at Parkside, and I'm pretty sure 77 Gen Con was still Horticultural Hall, or was 77 the first year or only year at Playboy Club before it went to Parkside? In any event, they were giving away at Parkside. So that means that they weren't given away at Parkside immediately after they were commissioned. So this was something else they did with them. It also means that they didn't cut this deal with McDonald's right away either, because they were giving them away at Gen Con, not exclusively at McDonald's at that point. However, they must have printed a ton of them. Well, they're a Coca-Cola company, right? Nobody in advertising it, the Coca-Cola company ever said, let's just whisper about this. So I'm sure they just printed a ton of them and found ways to filter them out to the public over time. You know, it only says Coca-Cola in very small print along the underneath the art who commissioned them. So they certainly weren't obtrusively Coca-Cola advertisements, but man, they were cool. And you know, Hildebrandt Brothers, fantastic, right? They did all those wonderful calendars. The yeah, like right down here it says Coca-Cola Company. They did Tolkien calendars. They did a lot of covers for books. Sword of Shannara being an early one. My English high school teacher, says Article Justicar in the chat, taught Lord of the Rings. So very cool of her back in the 80s. And had Hildebrandt illustrations up on the walls. Yup. Probably gathered up from the many Lord of the Rings calendars that the Hildebrandt brothers had done. My whole concept, you know, obviously I was playing D&D for some time before then, but I think 75, somewhere in the late 70s, one of the Tolkien calendars showed the orcs that were arguing over Merry and Pippin, or rather, yeah, who'd been captured after Moria, and two factions arguing over, and the pig-faced orcs that were illustrated are my go-to for how I feel orcs should look in yeah, Hildebrandt, Tolkien, orcs. Let's try that. Not that one. I think this is the illustration I mainly like. Okay, yeah, here we go. Open it in a new tab. We'll bring that over. There you go. So this one, the green one up here, kind of a little lizard-like, but snouty. Definitely lower left here. We've got a pig snout right there. And upper right, more like the one upper left. Nevertheless, I always get this feeling that orcs were squat, bulky, pig-nosed, monstrous creatures like that, and of varying green and red and all different kind of skin tones like that all over the place, because they're not all from one place. Now, if you're a Tolkien orc kind of guy, they're originally spawned from corrupted elves. Is that the idea behind them in Tolkien's Middle-earth? Thanks, Halfton. Classic 1E orcs. Yep. That's my go-to for the 1E for first edition for sure. All right. Well, we're hitting the 30-minute mark. We've had some good talks about the cartography here. What else we got? going in the images here. Oh yeah, I wanted to just mention once again that the Old School Medieval Fantasy Games periodical OS Zine is in the works. This is a mock-up of the cover. It's not a complete cover. I think over on the right-hand side there'll be a little knockout where I'll have some mention of the interiors. If you haven't seen this yet, be looking for it. What's down there? John D. Batten, Batten, did the artwork for this. It's old school artwork. It's from like 1895. It's public domain artwork. But I just love griffins, of course. Being a guy who's constantly working on my own retro clone, Griffins and Grottos. But I love that they're guarding the stairway up to a mysterious door at a tower, daring you to enter. And I like that there's this little sewer entrance or whatever that goes underneath as well. I don't know. It's just a great cover piece, I think. Anyway, keep an eye out for that. Don't forget, June 29th, Harryhausen Day. If you're on Facebook, look for it. Kick in on the interest, or just say going. I don't know. It's a full day event. The idea is just to spend some time honoring Ray Harryhausen. June 29th would have been his 100th birthday. He died at 92 in 2013. So it would be his centennial. And I don't know, it's weird. You gotta actually pick time, so I picked 15 minutes into the day and 15 minutes before it ends. But it's all day, June 29th. And in fact, that Friday I'm going to make a weekend of it. I'll start watching Harryhausen movies on Friday. I've got like 7 on DVD. Maybe I have 8 or 9. But there's like 7 that I think are quintessential. As we get closer, I'll talk about which ones I plan to watch and why. Also, rest of the schedule for the week. Tomorrow, campaign discussion, Grimwald discussion mostly. I think we're going to keep going on the fleshing out of Laidlaw Village. Crafting and painting. Let's keep slogging away on those catapults on Thursday. Building virtual tabletop adventures. I've got something I want to throw together this week for that. I'll talk about it then. Still plugging away at the Conan the Adventurer cartoons on Saturday. They keep getting flagged. They keep getting looked at. They keep getting noticed. Oh yeah, I guess it is a review. We'll let it go. So we'll see. I've got every week they're going to do that probably. So it won't show up until 2 or 3 days later. But catch it live on Twitch. That's the way to go, right? Rules retrospective. We're into the final examples on David M. Prada's 2006 version 2.2 of his Advanced Dungeons & Dragons Initiative and Combat Rules. Those are first edition AD&D rules. So we're winding down on that. And, of course, the weekly news and giveaway every Monday. Then we're back around to cartography. Thank you very much for coming out today in the Twitch channel. I appreciate it. If you do pop into Twitch or if you watch this later, make sure you follow the channel. Chime in during the stream chat, during a live show, and you will be eligible for the weekly drawing. Got a Hildebrandt poster in the works for next week. Got to dig up which one it will be. If you're catching this on YouTube, thank you very much. Be sure to subscribe. Hit the thumbs up and give us a little feedback if you like. It's greatly appreciated. Well, thank you, everybody, and have a great day. Enjoy the weather. Let's get some stuff done. Bye-bye.